Hi, everybody, and welcome to On the DL. I'm Dana Levinson, and I'm joined today with Suzan Galluzzo. Hi, Suzan.
Hi, Dana. How are
I-
you?
I'm so happy to see you. I can see the sunshine beaming in. You're in sunny California.
Yeah, I sure am.
I'm
Thank you.
so happy for you. We should tell
Happy to.
everyone you used to live here. Used
Yeah,
to be a resident.
a lot of people assume that I'm from California. The business is American. Like they're like, "Oh, I thought you were in Canada," and I'm like, "No, I am in Canada. I'm both. I feel like I spend almost 50% of my time still in Toronto. It's got
That's
to be high up there. It's like at least 30 to 40%. We go back 4 times a year at least. And then I'm spending, a month and a half in the summer, 3 weeks in the winter. And then in between there, I'm there often and now I feel like I'm getting more of a pull to Toronto. Like I'm doing a speaking event, March 2nd. It's a women's empowerment event. I'll share it with you.
Ooh.
You'll probably be there. But yeah, a lot of the people that we both know are going to be there as speakers, and yeah, it's going to be an awesome event. First of its kind, but yeah.
So I want to tell everybody who you are. I'm sure people who actually like clicked on this and saw, oh, I want to watch this or I want to listen to this, know who you are. But I want to tell everybody just in the event that they don't know who Suzan Galluzzo is. Suzan is a transformation coach, the creator of the Best of You health and wellness program. She's a holistic nutritionist. And are you a certified fitness trainer? I want to say you are.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's
Of
been a
course.
while since I've done my CanFit, but I don't know if you know, but I owned and operated 3 studios,
I
fitness.
do know. I'd love you to tell me.
Yeah, so back in the day, pre-COVID, that's was my life. I was named Hourglass Sue, and so I had these three franchises that were it was more 80% was focused on fitness and 20% was the nutrition. Nutrition was still included. It kind of was the beginning stages of my much more developed nutrition now, but that was my identity was very much tied into being a studio owner and being a
Mm,
fit buff. Like I was a fitness guru. I knew everything about fitness and body composition, and I competed and I coached the entire staff of Reebok Adidas headquarters. It was like having an entire studio there. It's a great story if you want to hear it. But do you want to hear it?
sure.
Okay, so the CEO of Reebok was one of the executives there, a woman, uh, of course, she did my program and she had this incredible transformation, mind, body, and soul. And you're familiar with the kinds of transformations, like they completely change people's lives. And she said, we need this at the office. So she brought me in and it was like this special thing. Only 25 women were chosen and the president was paying for these 25 women. Well, kind of, it was a little bit unfair because only these 25 women had this incredible opportunity, transform their lives. We did 3 months outside. He bought all this equipment for them. Like imagine having your
Amazing.
CEO. It was incredible. So of course it caught like wildfire. It went from 25 women to 180. Practically the entire company had 200 people of men and women. So I was there 4 hours a day after I do my full studio shift of teaching all morning. I would go there for noon and I would teach 4 classes in a row, 2 men's classes, 2 ladies classes, 4 days a week. So it was like running an entire studio, and it lasted. I was there, one of their uh not ambassador, what did they call us? Like we were like ambassadors, but
Mhm.
one of their talents for almost about 3 years that lasted. It was incredible experience, and it was all because of a visionary, the Patricia first, the marketing executive, who communicated that this need for these employees to feel like they are bettering themselves in the place where they're spending the most time. It becomes really difficult. Pre-COVID, I think we learned our lesson. Post-COVID is, getting fitness in your day is a luxury. It
I heard you say this. This resonates with me because you said this the other day that staying active, being fit, getting it into your day, you have, and either it's weight loss or staying healthy, maintaining your health is your job.
Yeah.
And that resonates with me because people always say to me, I used to say something very disgusting many years ago. I'll share this with you. When I was a smoker, I know you're probably looking at me like, what? You
No,
smoked? Like
no,
I did.
we all did it in our day. It was
Okay.
part of our generation.
Totally. And that's part of our generation saying totally. So I apologize to anybody listening to this who takes offense to that word. But I quit smoking when I was 27 years old. I'm 53 now. But I used to say I smoked like it was my job. Like I took like I was passionate about my cigarettes. So disgusting. Now, when people say to me or ask me, how do you stay healthy? How do you stay fit? I said, it's like my job. I don't even think about it. I get up every day. It's like, you get up, you brush your teeth, you drink some
Yep.
water, maybe you have some coffee. I work out, I walk my dog, I eat my breakfast, I go to work. It's just part of breathing and living. And I know for so many women that have come through your program, above and beyond all the gains, right? Whether it's the weight loss gains or it's the nutrition gains, they will say what transformed them the most is this holistic approach to the way they go about their life.
Yeah. How they treat themselves. Their
Yeah.
how they treat their bodies now is it's a way of life, and you're absolutely right. It's your job. Because whose
But I
job is
have to, I have
I
to
think
admit to
when we
everybody,
I think when we
yeah.
blame others for us, when we are unhealthy, that transition, that mindset has to happen. The transition of the mindset has to happen in order for a woman to succeed on this journey. She
Mhm.
has to look at it now as her perceived job. This is your duty and your obligation as a human being. Forget about being a mother, forget about being a spouse. That's secondary. We have an obligation to ourselves to be healthy, take care of our bodies, and we have an obligation to those that are relying on us.
So
The other
I,
day, you
yeah,
said your son came home really sick.
yes, exactly. Like really sick the other day. And I had to take care of him, right? That's part of my job. I mean, he's almost 20 years old and he came home from university, but I'm going to take care of him. And
Absolutely.
that's my job. But the first thing I did, of course, was go into the kitchen and start making sure that there was, when I say it wasn't just chicken soup, I went and I started to make healthy granolas for him because I didn't, when you're sick and you want something
Right.
sweet, you have that craving. And his bananas only will do so much for
A
when
20-year-old.
yeah, but he is very, very, very healthy, and I do pat myself on the back because he learned it all. Like absolutely, he'll tell everybody I learned everything from my mother, and he changed his life last summer, and he's a completely different human.
Wow.
And so I'm in the kitchen making all of these like healthy things and protein balls, and like when I tell you, I was like roasting almonds and like just making sure that he had stuff that filled his belly, that he felt good. Then he went back to school. He felt great. But I want to tell everybody something. I think it's important because I know you've been interviewed by so many people in media that have done your program, and they will attest to their transformation to health and wellness. And yes, the bonus is getting fit and losing
Yeah.
weight and looking great. I have not done your program. I don't want people to sit here and think, oh, Dana's interviewing Sue because she did her program. No, I
Yeah.
have not.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
just fell in love with you online, literally, because you are so gracious with your time with people I know that are not in your program. These are
Yeah.
people that are
Thank
not,
you.
they're just reaching out to you for help.
Mhm.
And you have been consistent since day one as your platform has grown, as your program has grown, as your popularity has grown, because I always say the truth always wins, and you speak the truth about all of it. And I just loved you from day one. I just was like, there's something very special about this woman. Like I just feel like you are, I just wish that everybody had access to you whenever they wanted. So via Instagram is a great way for people
It is.
to watch
People
you.
realize, and we've actually, in fact, gone back to even, our pre-COVID when, my celebrity kind of jumped during COVID because I was lucky enough to have the attention of the world because the world was still. So, anybody in the online world had this really great opportunity. And then that allowed me access to people like yourself, people like Melissa, Cheryl. I was, lucky enough to have these meetings now and be able to service these women, and then they spread the word about me. And so it gained a lot of popularity, the program, and it was really hard to be that point of access. But now we've in fact gone back to that. We've gotten rid of a whole sales team. We no longer have a sales team. It's me. I'm the one on the phone with everyone because I want to be able to say, hey, remember that girl from Montreal? How's she doing right now? And be able to just look and recall the conversation that I had with her to begin with, of knowing exactly what this woman wants, where she wants to go, and how we're going to get her there. And having it's my name on the line. So I wanted to go back to that place where I was very, and I'm limited. Like I have a great team and I have a great support, but we've kind of just narrowed things down now so that we can be more face to face with our our clients. And that has allowed me access to, just the everyday woman who asks me for help on Instagram. I always say, the universe finds me for these people. So I have an obligation to respond to these women that are seeking help, because I could be that one message for them that allows them, the opportunity to seek the right help that they might need.
Mhm. Now, so speaking of COVID, I feel like your program just like exploded. There were so many people,
Yeah.
and the success stories were, it was every day, these transformation stories. And if people follow you, they could listen to your podcast. They could just listen to all the different stories of so much success. And whether people were finding success with you or finding success elsewhere, because people either got really fat and gross during COVID. Sorry,
Yeah.
I speak the truth. People got really gross. They did. They got gross. Too much wine,
Yeah.
too much sugar, too much sitting on your ass. It was disgusting. Or they got very healthy. And the ones that were gross and decided to get their health back did do something about it. Thank goodness. I'm so proud of all of the people that I know that took their health back. But where we are right now is a very interesting time, particularly around women post 45. And I'm just laying down the theme with you right now, because this is a trend that I've been seeing over the last, let's say, year and a half. And I'm thinking, what is going on here? What is happening? It can't be that a program isn't proper. A program works. We see that. So what is happening to so many women? Why are women, not best of you members, I'm talking about women out there, all
Yeah.
these women that I support.
Oh
Why
yeah.
are they
There's something happening.
why are they gaining their weight back? Why are they falling back into this COVID-like lifestyle? Why do they think that they can just, oh, don't worry, I'll get back to my thin self because I did it once. Maybe I even did it twice and I'll get back, no problem. What is going on, Sue? Like, honestly, what is going on? I don't understand.
I have this theory that a lot of the women, what we're seeing right now, especially with people that are calling in and seeking help, is they ignored the signs too many times. And then now they've gotten to this point where then we forget about aging and menopause and life. Now add to that whole COVID part, which to me, it escalated all those things that women could get away with sweeping under the rug. And now they no longer, it's been a few years. I'm sure you've noticed, because you have the same age group of friends and people around you and people complaining to you. And, you're sitting there going, well, you ignored it in your 30s to 40s. It was manageable. You were managing that 10-pound weight gain. Well, then 40s come around, perimenopause, start to experience some more changes, but you never really got it together with your diet and your exercise. You just skated through, life with the bare minimum necessary, joining a gym when you feel like it, joining a program when you felt like it, eating right before a vacation, right? We all know those people.
Mhm.
Eating right and then going on a massive crash diet in January, right? That's kind of what women's habits were like. And then, a woman gets to her 50s And she's now going, oh my God, menopause got the best of me. And it's like, no, you've been acting this way for probably the past 20 years. And because of COVID, it made your habits worse. And you excuse them a little too much. And now you're at the point where it's a 40-pound weight gain and
Wow.
the symptoms are out of control, the hot flashes, the moodiness, the depression, the anxiety, the uncontrollable cravings. And then, what happened? The weight just keeps piling on. And what women don't realize is yes, obviously, I'm concerned with the aesthetic way I look like
Yeah, of course.
and what weight does to me. But at the end of the day, the real reason why women need to wake the F up is because they're killing themselves slowly. They are on their way to their grave by continuing to be ignorant to these habits that they excused for the past 20 years. Like women have been living the same way for 20, 25 years, drinking the wine every other night or every weekend, not completely being ignorant to the research.
Mm.
The studies out there are unbelievable, telling us no amount of alcohol is safe for women. No
Mhm.
amount of weight gain is acceptable or safe for women because you're opening yourself up to all these diseases
None, no amount is safe.
of alcohol.
No, no amount of weight gain is safe.
Over 10 pounds,
People over
over
10
10
pounds.
pounds, you're going to get yourself into some hot water.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so what about the women who succeeded? They said, oh my, look at me. I look amazing. I feel extraordinary. I did it. I lost 20 pounds. I lost maybe 30 pounds. And a year and a half later, they
They
start
fall
to the 5 pounds
back.
come on, like, oh, it's just 5 pounds. I know
Yeah.
what to do. And then it's 10 pounds.
Mhm.
And then it's 15 pounds.
I think that we are in
Why?
denial
We're in
that
denial. Okay.
think we're in denial that we do it once, we think we know it all, and we don't. Your body is constantly changing. And so, yes, you achieve that goal once, but that's not to say that you have enough knowledge, support, accountability to continue to maintain it. Maintaining for us, the success is in maintenance. And we'll talk about that in the reverse diet. That's the success, is when we get a woman into high calories and she is able to maintain her level of fitness and understands exactly how and what foods she needs to eat in order to build strength and continue to decrease fat. Though that's the enemy, is the accumulation of fat is the enemy. That's
So
where the true dangers will appear, is when a woman has too much fat and not enough muscle on her body.
I think you hit it. I think that's where it comes in. I mean, I've heard you say this. Yes, you think that the hard part is losing weight. It's not.
No,
It
done it 100 times.
feels like it feels like, it's an uphill battle. And yes, it is. And you climb that mountain. But if you want to stay on the top of the mountain, that's where the work comes in.
Mhm.
And so when you hear words like maintenance calories, reverse dieting, women have no idea what you're talking, not you, have
Zero
the
clue.
general, no clue. Like,
Zero clue.
what is that? So I want you to tell everybody, what is it? What is it?
Okay.
Once you lose the weight, what do you do? Like is it that you will never be able to drink a glass of wine or have a piece of chocolate ever again? I'm using
Absolutely
wine.
not.
I'm using
But
wine as
I think, go ahead.
I just said I'm using wine sort of as that example. Wine's probably not great because it's so bad for you, but I'm just
Oh
saying,
no, but let's be realistic. Like,
yeah.
are people going to do this and get to the level? I still have drinks on the weekends, and not every weekend, but I know where to draw the line. You know what, and you're educated enough to know what to do afterwards. I think a lot of women are in denial that they understand the education behind truly what weight loss is and maintaining maintaining it and sustaining it. That is the education that we're missing. That's the you're not going to get it from doing a Weight Watchers or just losing weight. We need to upgrade our knowledge and these terms need to be understood, just like, everything else that we know about, I don't know, grocery, like things that I feel like we're just not um admitting to ourselves
Mhm.
that these are terminologies and things that as women we need to really understand so that we can achieve this lifestyle. Because I don't think that, do you think there is anything more consuming in a woman's head than her weight, than her health? Is there other than, okay, your kids, gotta feed them, make money, gotta pay your bills. And then
Yeah.
what's taking up rent space in women's heads? Women, now keep in mind, Dana, you and I don't have a problem. Think about the woman that has a weight issue. What
No,
is
but
your thoughts?
you know what, Sue, I will tell you, it's not people always get mad at me because I always say I have like that, it's that fat teenager brain. It's a scar. Like it's something that stays with you forever. I was an overweight
Never
kid.
leaves us.
It
Never
never
leaves.
leaves us. I was overweight in my 20s. I mean, I was really, I would say I was a chubby kid, chubby young adult.
Yeah,
And it does stay with you, but I was never taught tools. I taught myself because of how I felt. And
exactly.
it was all about, it was all a journey for me. And a
Yeah,
lot of women will say the same, but when you get to that point in your life, like you're talking about, perimenopause, menopause, which is you are up against it. You're up against your hormones. You're up against sleep deprivation. You're up against a zero libido, which we know your sex life does help with weight loss and weight management. We just know that that works. Um, my husband will be listening to this and he'll say, I knew it. I knew she wanted to burn calories. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It is, women want to know how do they reverse diet? So maybe you could tell us how do they do that?
okay. So let's understand first that, a diet is where we are in what's called a calorie deficit. So in order, let's talk about some terms that maybe the listeners aren't familiar with. When you're
Okay.
in a maintenance calorie position, and there's really no way of knowing what that is unless you recorded everything you ate for an entire week. That's the old school way of doing it. So in a maintenance calorie position, that's where I'm not losing, I'm not gaining. I'm eating the amount of energy that my body needs in order to conduct everyday activities and live life. And so, provided that I'm exerting a consistent amount of energy daily,
Mm.
my maintenance calories are going to be good for me to not gain weight, but I won't be losing weight either. And it's usually someone, if you take your weight and multiply it by, I think it was like 12, because if you take your weight and multiply it by 10, that's going to give you your diet, because people understand that term, diet calories. So your calorie deficit is
Mm.
usually your weight times 10. So I weigh 124 pounds, 1,240 is pretty accurate in order for me to lose weight.
To lose, but to maintain.
To maintain, it's going to be like 400 or 500 calories more than that.
Oh, wow.
And I
Okay.
think people don't realize like it's not a big gap. And that's where the trouble begins, is when women start eating above that maintenance calorie level
Yeah. And for too many days,
too many years,
too
you
many
know,
years.
too many years. You know, and that's why we've got this crazy yo-yo mentality of, women will starve themselves during the week and then on the weekends they just, yeah,
No, that's so bad.
so bad.
It's
So
so bad. Yeah.
that yo-yoing, the body does not like what's unpredictable. The body wants consistency. It wants
Mhm.
you to eat the same amount every day, and it wants you to exert an even amount of energy daily. So that's why the necessity for daily activity, or you're not going to be able to maintain your weight. So Calorie deficit is when a woman is trying to lose weight. We're putting her in a calorie deficit position. And
Okay.
in order to maintain calories, we're going to increase those calories, or sorry, in order for her to maintain her weight loss. So if a woman does 3 months in a deficit position, let's say she loses 25 pounds.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but that's the average that we see. It's anywhere from 25 to 35. Yeah, look at the transformations. All, 25 to 35 pounds in 3 months, 3 to 4 months is average. So if you're eating for 3 months at your deficit position, so 1,200 calories, 1,300 calories. Well, the body, gets used to that caloric set point. And after so long, it's only going to burn that amount of calories.
Mm.
So you end up almost shooting yourself in the foot if you diet for too long. So that is why the reverse diet has to happen. And the reverse diet is when slowly we're adding back calories to the plan in order not to stimulate fat cells that have shrunken. Go,
And
you're
and everybody, I guess, is different, right? You can't just read about adding calories back, 100 calories this week, 200 calories the second week. You have to know what you're adding. You have to know the foods that your body will respond to.
yeah.
Because, see,
Yeah.
when you go online and you look at, I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of fitness and health
Yeah.
influencers. Thousands. I mean, they come across, a new ones come across my feed every week. I'm like, who is
Yeah.
this? And some of them are interesting, but there are some that really speak to, it's just about the calories. And if you want to eat cake or you want to eat ice cream or Oreo crumbles on top of your protein shake, don't ask this. I just saw this the other day. Go for it. Just make sure that, you're in that calorie deficit.
Mhm.
Well, how is that going to help somebody? How does that, how
So
would that,
harmful.
yes.
It's ignoring so many things. For one thing, it's ignoring hormones. It's ignoring what's actually in food. It's ignoring, the chemicals in food that are going to play with your hormones like leptin and ghrelin, which are hunger and satiety. There are chemicals in those Oreos, in all packaged goods, that are purposely put in there to trigger your hunger hormones. So that's why I always use this example. You can eat 500 calories of Oreos. You can eat 500 calories of a superfood meal like vegetables and chicken. That
Yeah.
500 calorie, right, of chicken and salad is going to keep you full, satiated. And not only that, the most important thing will happen. The receptors in your head get set off when the belly is full. And that's what tells us we're full. Whereas 500 calories of Oreos, guess
Mhm.
what? The receptors in your stomach don't go off telling your brain you're full. And that's why you can polish an Oreo box and literally not feel like you're full.
I actually, I don't want to judge anybody. I mean, I used to love Oreos. It was my favorite cookie. That's why
We've
I brought
all
it up
done
when I,
it. I'm not going
yeah,
to
I
say
know.
never. You
But
put a
I would be
in front
sick.
of me, I'll polish it. Yes, and you'll be very sick.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel very well. And I think it's that dieting, binging mentality that you're talking about. So the woman who has lost her 25 pounds, who feels like she's done it, but she's gone back to, okay, I was on this plan. I was on it for 3 to 6 months. It was very hard work. I look fabulous. I feel fabulous. I'm going to have a cookie here. I'm going to have some cake there. I'm still staying in my maintenance calories because I'm really watching what I eat. But every week she starts to slip a little bit.
And that's what happens typically after women finish a fat loss, a diet, they're like, phew, I'm done.
Yeah.
And you can't wait for that part of your life to be over. You are going to gain the weight back. And so because if you can't wait to get out of this being healthy mode, it's probably the wrong type of diet for you, like a keto, something that is just too low calorie. and not understanding the reverse diet process, you'll gain your weight back. So women are like, phew, I'm done. And they're like, I can do, I've been eating this way for 6 months. I can do this. I can stay at these calories. I'm so good. And then life hits them with a curveball and they get emotional or depressed or anxious, or their kids, come home, and anything, life is going to happen. It's going to trigger you. If that doesn't trigger you to eat more, your hormones are going to trigger you to eat more. Because when we stay on a diet for too long, several changes occur in the metabolism, and prolonged dieting will decrease the metabolic rate. So the body will adapt to the reduced calorie intake by slowing down your metabolism to conserve energy. And that's what we have to be worried about. And so that's called metabolic adaptation. So if a woman stays in a diet for too long because she thinks that she can sustain that low amount of calories, all of a sudden she starts to overeat 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, all of it. And then it just starts to snowball and you're going, oh my God, I lost all this weight, but I'm out of control, hungry and eating. And that's
Mhm.
because of two hormones specifically, leptin and ghrelin. Leptin regulates appetite and energy balance. Ghrelin stimulates appetite. It promotes hunger and food intake. And so when a person loses weight, leptin decreases. And this reduction is going to cause an increase in appetite. So do you get what I'm saying? So if we
Yeah, of
stay
course.
in that diet for too long, leptin goes down and it's
Go think of that.
trigger appetite, sends you signals. And then all it takes is a stressful situation or a really happy situation. What if you go on vacation and you go above your 1,200 calories that you've trained your body to eat for so long? You come back, you're 10 pounds heavier.
Mm.
So, and that's because of science, fat cells. After we finish a diet cycle, so a fat loss cycle, and we've lost all this weight, our fat cells shrink. They don't disappear. The only way you can make fat cells disappear is through liposuction. But that won't even, that's going to suck out a few of them. Well, what about the rest of them that
Right. And they're going to come back and you'll look really weird.
well, I mean, there's so many other, things with that. We won't even go there, but
Right. It's another story.
let's talk about the fat cells. They shrink, right?
I find this
And
fascinating. I heard you talk about this. This is
thank you.
fascinating.
So fat cells, also known as, I always say it wrong, adipocytes. Okay. So fat cells are very sensitive in women, of course, right?
Right.
So after we finish dieting, our fat cells shrink. And if you don't properly add back calories in a slow, consistent manner, well, what you do is you overstimulate them
Mm.
by overconsumption too fast. So too much food too fast. And so when we do that, if the body receives in excess of calories, it releases insulin, okay? And that promotes the storage of glucose in the form of glycogen in the liver and in muscle cells. If glycogen stores are too full, excess glycogen gets converted into fatty acids and stores in the fat cells.
Wait,
And
tell everybody what happens to those fat cells because you keep
yeah,
going like,
so
what happened?
the more they accumulate,
Mhm.
it will cause the fat cells to expand.
How many times, Sue?
Or
4 times, Sue.
that's why tiny little people who lose a ton of weight can expand up to 4 times their size if they're not careful with how they exit. And that's something I'm trying to make that term be relevant to women. What is your exit strategy?
So
After you finish your weight, if I tell you 90 out of the 100 messages I receive, 90, and I'm trying to screenshot them all say the exact same thing. Well, I did Weight Watchers and I've done Shakeology and I gained all the weight back. I did, and it could have been last week, last month, 10 years ago. It's the same thing because we're not getting it. It's like we keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again, failing to understand that there's a reason that this science it's out for us to know. But women, we're so brainwashed with
Mm.
the way things have been for 50 years. How long has Weight Watchers been around? 50 years?
Something, maybe
Probably.
more. Hmm.
And not to throw them under the bus because they do a lot of great work for women, but they've made generations and generations and generations of women that understand the way to get thin and healthy is through starving yourself, going back to your old habits because that's considered deprivation, and not understanding the real science behind it, which is we have to successfully increase our calories so that we can live normally. I'm 5'5". I need to eat at least 1,600 calories to 1,800, depending on my level of activity, in order for me to be healthy and normal. I cannot live on 1,200 calories.
No way, no way. So I want to focus on two things. So, um, you talked about metabolic adaptation, metabolic rate. I want to go back to that in 1 second.
Sure.
If someone is at a point where they have gained their weight back and they have to do something, do you say go back to the start? You have the tools, you know what you were able to lose. Let's get you back. But then when you're finished losing, now you have to change your ways. So
Exactly.
whatever program or whatever worked for somebody, I think the message is, okay, yes, you feel you've done it, you can do it again, but maybe the way you do it again is different. It's really
Exactly.
different this
That's
time.
We
It's
have that conversation a lot.
Mhm.
Listen, we have women that, despite getting all the warnings of the exit, women still drop off because life happens. They get frustrated. Diet fatigue is a real thing,
Huge.
and as much as we try to educate and say, you can't leave without doing a reverse diet, women still leave. And unfortunately, we do get a lot of women who come back if they've gained their weight. Some leave and successfully maintain. The ones who do a reverse diet maintain, like
So when you say, okay, and when you talk about adding back calories, this is I want, because I want people to listen to this. It's important. It's not about adding back calories that they think are just caloric, like a cake, or
Oh,
it is, like you said, it's dependent on doing it slowly. So does it look like adding more protein? Is it adding more
okay.
good carbs?
I'm gonna finish the previous thought that we talked
Okay.
about. So, you were asking, when a woman comes back, she has to do things differently in how she's going to exit now. And so, like I said, women come back, they've gained their weight. We say, okay, we're gonna do it again. We're
Mm.
gonna lose the weight, but we have to now understand that there's another phase. That's what women have to really accept and wrap their mind around. The diet doesn't end when the weight loss happens.
Mm.
There's still another full phase to complete. Now, how do we go about that phase? Well, it's very granular. Every woman is different. By this time, we have gotten to know what you do for a living. This matters. Your level of stress. How much does this woman work out? Does she have a sedentary job, or does she have a very active job? Is she a stay-at-home mom? Is she somebody who's getting 7 to 10,000 steps, or is she getting 10 to 12,000 steps? All these variables matter, all of them. And that will determine how we reverse, and also genetics.
Of
Some
course.
women, we can add back. So, how we typically do it is we add back 100 calories and we tell you exactly where these calories are added.
Mm.
Are they added in protein? We'll tell them, okay, you know what? We're going to go up in protein, carbs, fat, 100 calories. even split, for example. Okay, so week to week, depending on the individual, and like I said, we've gotten to know you very well. Me and my team, we know how and where and how much to add week to week. And by this time as well, we've done a lot of training in macros, in macronutrients. So month 1 is a phase, month 2 is a phase, and phase 3 happens when the person has done the dieting, done the weight loss. Is phase 3 is the reverse diet. By the time phase 3 happens, this individual understands what macronutrients are, how to track their macronutrients. So there's a big learning process that happens until, and it's mandatory. And that's why for somebody who even only has 10 pounds to lose or 30, it's the same. It's the minimum is 90 days to learn the information. It's just, it is what it is. It's just that there's lots of phases to go through in the particular order. So week to week, I'm adding back 100 calories every week average, and we're monitoring. We're seeing how the weight fluctuates. We're seeing if their photos as well. And we're also analyzing what's happening in studio from their in-body scan. So all these different parts play a big role in how we reverse diet a woman. And so some women, so for example, if you're a sedentary office worker, you work from home, which is a lot of the case these days, you're a busy mom, in the car a lot, driving to lessons, you know, making your 7,000 steps, 2 to 3 days of workouts a week, that's it. We're not going to reverse diet her too much because usually those women feel very full on like 16, 1700 calories. Whereas we have women like this woman that I know,
Sure.
Christina, who works out 6 days a week. She's lean. She has 2 kids, but this woman is doing 10 to 12,000 steps. She's up at 5 a.m. going to the gym. So she's driving to the gym. She's doing resistance training. She could be the same height and weight as the other woman, but Christina is going to go up to 2,200 calories.
Right. Because she's burning it off. She's burning away. She's burning
Exactly.
away.
And
So,
understanding that whole process is essential for
of
your
course.
success, you know, and that's the difference.
And that's why I thought it's so important that we talk about it, because it's almost at epidemic levels now, where I'm seeing people, what they looked like a year ago. And I'm only basing it on how people look because I don't know everybody's story. So if I see
Yeah.
somebody from afar and I think, wow, what happened?
Yes.
There's a story there, but I don't know what the story is. So I don't want to offend anybody by saying it's how someone looked. Of course, I know it's the whole picture. Of course, it's hormones and it's lifestyle and it's all the things we just talked about. But getting back to metabolic adaptation. So I know women will be listening to this and they'll be saying, I have been on a diet for years and I can't lose weight. What am I going to do now?
Okay, and we get that a lot.
I'm sure.
I've tried everything for years since COVID, since after COVID. I've been trying to lose this 20 to 30 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever it is. And and then they'll say, I'll always get this. Should I wait till I do all my blood work? Should I wait until I do my allergy test? And I'm like, none of it matters. None of it matters to me because you have a metabolic issue.
Right.
You are overweight. You cannot lose weight. There is a reason. And 90% of the time, 99% of the time is because you've done so much wear and tear on your gut that your body is in such a toxic state that it cannot lose weight because you are not allowing it the opportunity to lose weight. So you have to take from it the culprits, I call it. You know, most of like, I'll be like, so do you eat dairy, gluten, sugar, alcohol? I'm gluten free, but sometimes I have bread. I don't eat sugar, but I drink wine. Like, so, you know, it's this 1 foot in, 1 foot out method.
I don't eat dairy, but only when I go to Europe.
Exactly. Or
That's me. Sorry.
that's okay, actually, Europe.
I only
But
eat dairy in
some,
Greece and Italy.
so some women will say, I don't eat dairy except for cream in my coffee. That's still dairy.
Love dairy.
Unfortunately, when we are from our 40s and beyond, your gut has a lot of trouble digesting those foods. And so years and years of dabbling with these foods is going to create a lot of damage, to the point where the damage has to be reversed by completely eliminating the sources and
Mhm.
allowing the body to heal. This is a huge step that women are not understanding, how they have to do this in order to get to the weight loss. And the body right away sees when you take away those toxic sources, because most people are not tolerant to dairy and gluten. Most
Mhm.
people can't digest them well. And that could be the reason why you've got holes in your gut. And once we take out those toxic sources, your body recognizes and it begins to heal. And then we're giving it all these healthy foods. Now it can actually absorb the nutrients. Whereas before, it's not absorbing nutrients. People are going, not to say, naturopaths and doctors, they're amazing, but
Amazing.
we're not getting to the root source of the problem, which is the metabolic issue. You can, I'll have women go and spend $2,000 on supplements from a naturopath
Mhm.
and not do anything about the weight loss. And it's like you're basically ignoring the elephant in the room by dancing around it and doing all these other things, blood tests and hormones and your allergy tests and supplementation and seeing all these different experts. But you have a metabolic issue is the biggest one. And in order for you to get well, whether it's autoimmune, whether it's reverse diabetes, lose weight, improve your cholesterol, improve your blood work, you have to take care of that metabolic issue.
And you're saying to do that is heal your gut first.
Yes.
So heal your gut first
Yeah.
and figure out what that looks like.
Well,
For-
it happens simultaneously in our program. We heal the
Mhm.
gut, right away we see weight loss.
Mm, interesting. So the metabolic rate sort of it resets itself in many ways once you start doing that.
Absolutely. Then there's no longer an issue of a sluggish metabolism. The reason why a lot of women have a sluggish metabolism is in the absence of estrogen. So as we're aging from our
Mm.
40s, we could be decreasing in estrogen, right? Estrogen provides a nice barrier in the gut for digestion. So now we're middle aged. We don't have this estrogen cushion available to us. It's going. So now those foods are even more toxic to the gut and they're doing more damage. And so that's why, as females, we have to understand that our bodies are constantly changing and we have to adapt to these changes. And while you might have been able to digest dairy, gluten, sugar, alcohol in your 20s and 30s,
Right.
it changes. Your
Right.
hormones change, your body changes, your stress changes, your level of activity changes. We have to adjust for those.
My biggest question was I remember saying this to my doctor. What do you mean I'm gluten intolerant or I'm dairy intolerant? I mean, that's ridiculous. I've been able to eat whatever I want my whole life.
Be able to eat whatever I want. Exactly.
And it was like, well, dear, you can't anymore because your body has changed. And that's called menopause, postmenopause. And so I share with you that my ups and downs, I don't want to call it yo-yo because that to me, yo-yo is a little bit of a mentality. Also, the yo-yo
Yeah.
diet, that feels more of more of a mindset. That's not who I am. But I have seen my health go up and down post menopause. And it has scared me. And there's been many times where I've had conversations with women who have said, well, okay, but you need to just sort of accept it. You need to accept that's where you're at. And I've talked to you about this before, where I'm not okay with just accepting it. If I have the physical ability and the mental capacity to continue to conquer my health every single day of my life and feel like
We
an
have the
energetic
tools.
healthy person.
We have the
Yeah.
tools
So,
available to us. We have the education. We have the knowledge. We just have to have the want to learn.
and I wanted to do this for women listening and watching postmenopause. When I first spoke to you, during COVID, I was in that sort of menopause shit. I am post.
Yeah.
I'm post. So things have changed. My body has changed and it continues to change. And every year, if I look at myself in January or look at myself in July, it's different. I'm different.
Yeah.
And so is everyone else. But you have to have the mindset. And I love when you say this. If you think that there is a start and a finish to this, then it's never going to work for you because the starting is forever.
It is. It's forever. You need to want to take care of yourself forever.
Forever. And
Yep.
when you said that, I felt like crying because it speaks to me because I want to be healthy. I want to be healthy for me and my family. I want to feel good. I want to be able to work out. I want to walk my dog for hours when it's nice weather. I want to be able to dance when I want to dance and have balance and do all the things that I saw my mom do. And I want to do it even better than that as I'm in this stage of my life.
Mhm.
And I know that women that are listening are feeling the same way. And I love how open you are about the tools that women need not to slip back into this state of, well, I've dieted too much. I give up. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna just keep the extra 10, 15 pounds because who cares? I'm 50 years old and really who gives a shit if I'm in a bikini ever again?
I
Okay,
think
well,
a lot of women are there. They've given up.
there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to tell me about two things before I let you go because you're so gracious with your time. So you're so unbelievable. I
You
want you to talk to me about, I know you
have
have,
too much of it. No, I'm kidding. I don't.
no, you're unbelievable. I want you to talk to me about, I know you have a studio space in Toronto now, and
Yes.
you really are talking about the in-body scan. And I
Yeah.
think this is very important because we want to talk about these off-scale wins
Yeah.
also, that women don't understand that muscle really weighs a lot,
Yeah.
right? Like your biceps, your thighs can weigh a lot. And women
Yeah.
get on a scale and freak out. They freak out. Oh my God, I gained 5 pounds. Oh my God. And that's that yo-yo dieter mentality.
Yeah. And I think that if when women are finally aware and they can actually see it, what we can't measure, we can't scale. And when they finally see those numbers in reality, it's no longer a question of, oh, so the scale didn't move. Maybe I gained muscle. Like that's as much as we know. But when you're able to actually put a number to it and realize that, yeah, actually, you didn't lose weight because you did gain muscle and
Mhm.
you gained exactly 4% and it tells us the pounds that you're gaining of muscle and the pounds that are decreasing in fat. And then sometimes we are in denial about the actual effort that we're putting in. And so it serves as a reminder that you can't lie about it. You can't lie about your effort. The scale the scale is not enough. And
Mm.
so at the storefront, we do those in-body scans, very sophisticated machine, and it measures body fat percentage, muscle, it measures water retention. So if
Wow.
the woman comes in and we will see from her previous visit whether that much water retention is normal for her. Because if it's not, then she's also made aware, oh, I retained more water this week. Could be my cycle, could be what I ate the other day. It just provides for more information. And another really important one, Dana, I think that a lot of women are in denial about how poor their health really is and don't even know what the term visceral fat even means.
Right.
And that's the belly fat. That is the fat that's going to get you in trouble. It's the silent killer, but it's there. You can see it. It's not like so I think as women, we do have a responsibility to ourselves to know these things and, so that, God forbid you don't want something to happen that was perfectly preventable.
And that's sort of that skinny fat girl, that idea with someone looks good and they may
Yeah.
look skinny, but they've got quite a bit of visceral fat. and they don't even
Yeah.
know what it is. And so is the in-body scan available to people who are not members of your program, or it's just solely for your
Yeah,
members?
you can come in and purchase a package or just come in and stop in and do it. And if the girls have time, yeah, it's like not that expensive, $30 or $40 to hop on the scale, get a printout, go on an empty stomach. I mean, email ahead of time to make an appointment is best.
And how do people find you in Toronto and find your
Oh, you
studio?
can to www.suzangalluzzo.com and the studio email is there. And you can email us and book an appointment and come in and do your in-body scan. And that way, it's a really good start at, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. Where do I go now?
And do your members hop on every month, every week, how often?
So they're going in bi-weekly every 2 weeks. And let me tell you, Dana,
That's amazing. That's a great tool. That's very
the
good.
results, so on average, you've always known my transformations, and on average, the results have been amazing. And on average, we would see, let's say, if a woman has 40 to 50 pounds to lose, most definitely, if she's following properly, she's losing 30 in 90 days. We're seeing the ones that are coming in person are losing on average. I had a woman lose almost 40 pounds in 90 days. And that's that extra added accountability of understanding those numbers and making them work for her. And
Mm,
so, and this is a woman, actually, I have a woman that doesn't want to see scale weight. So we don't share it with her. We just show her the percentages. That's it.
wow.
And she's down 50 pounds now to date. It's been like 4 or 5 months.
And she
But
doesn't even know.
she has she knows that she's lost 50 pounds.
Oh, she
She
does. Okay.
doesn't know what she started at. She does not care to. So
That's
we
amazing.
share with her every 2 weeks, her body fat percentage has gone down by 6 points, by 4 points, and these things have been very motivating for her. And especially she is somebody who came from, that whole growing up overweight, constantly looking at the scale as,
Mm.
as validation. And now she's seeing a different success now for her, which is not even focused on her scale anymore. It's focused on how much muscle do I have? How much muscle am I really building? And that's become the focus.
I want to ask you one last question. Um, it's about intermittent fasting, because last time we spoke about it, you were like, we don't really need to talk about it that much. I know it has taken over the world.
Yes.
The
Now
world.
we've been doing intermittent fasting as phase 2 of my program for 10
Yeah.
years.
Yes,
And
you told me that. You said you have to get there. You can't just all of a sudden stop eating
yes.
because you're not doing it properly, right?
Yep.
And so maybe you can explain to people, I guess briefly, why it's not working for some women. Because I do speak to women who will say, I do the 16-8, or they'll fast for 16 hours, they'll eat for an 8-hour window, or they'll do 12 and 12, whatever. I'm just giving you the numbers because this is all over the internet, so they know the numbers. And they'll say, scale's not moving, but I think I think you're gonna say it's taking you back to your metabolic adaptation and your metabolic rate. So I think you're gonna go there with it, but maybe.
So it's the steps that have to happen before. And a lot of women are just diving into intermittent fasting and without even like reading a book about it. If you're going to read anything, read that book Fast Like a Girl by
Mhm.
Dr. Peltz is a great one.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. However, for me, what I know to be true, and this is after thousands of people being through my program, is if we don't heal the gut first, you're not going to have a successful intermittent fasting. And so back to my previous point, the gut damage is happening. It's wear and tear at your gut lining. That leaves it open. So there's holes now in your gut from years and years of weight gain and going on vacations and Christmas dinners and all these things that have caught up with us. And now you're sitting there 40 pounds overweight. Well, those holes in your gut are called leaky gut. What's going through there is undigested food and toxins. And it's disrupting hormones, it's slowing down metabolism, it's doing all, and it's making weight loss almost impossible. And so that's what I call a sick body.
Mm,
And if you don't take the time to heal the gut and heal those holes, right? Just like if you were to put cement on drywall, heal up those holes. Well, when we go to fast, the purpose of fasting is to go to stored fat,
mhm,
right? And to induce cell autophagy,
mhm.
healing of the body. But the body is sitting there going, if you try to fast it just abruptly like that, the body is going, but you have holes in your gut and there's undigested food in my bloodstream. I got to work on that as well as fast and go
Right.
to
And
stored
then
fat. And it's
doesn't,
kind of counterproductive, right?
and
Because the
does
body,
cortisol go up at that point?
well,
Does
sure,
your body get stressed out at that point?
oh, I mean, diet in general stresses the body, right? So without taking the proper steps, and so in our program, like we're making sure women are getting the right types of foods. So how do you know what foods you're eating during your fasting period? You know,
Right.
that's the other thing is, well, what are you even eating during your non-fasting? And for it to be really effective. So I think there's just a lack of education and knowledge around how to fast and when, and that would solve a lot of people's problems and they would fast successfully. But without doing the proper work and understanding what foods you should be eating during fasting and the amounts of foods and how much macronutrients am I receiving, and how much water should I be drinking in a day? You can heal yourself with fasting. You can. But you got to know what you're doing. You got to know how to do it properly. And I just feel like something like for weight loss and fasting, why are people so um focused on doing it themselves versus just getting a coach and getting the knowledge and having the blueprint? It's like if you're in a severe dire situation where your doctor is at the point where she's saying, if you don't lose the weight, you're going to be in trouble, and you're continuing to try to do things on your own. I don't know. It's kind of, you're going to
Makes
drive
sense.
yourself crazy.
And it becomes years of a vicious cycle until you actually really tell yourself the truth, which is I need some help. And so
Yeah.
what if and I always say it's baby steps. Some people don't want to make that call. They don't want to go
Yes.
right away. What are some good resources? You just mentioned Fast Like a Girl, like some
Yeah.
reading
Mindy
resources for
Peltz is really
people.
good.
Who?
Um, Mindy Peltz, that
Yep.
doctor, Mindy Peltz. Sarah Gottfried is a
Okay.
great one for hormones. I'm very aligned with how she her food choices as well.
Mhm.
Some things I'm not. Like, I've developed my own way of doing things because I've been, front line with people for 12 years. So that's the difference between somebody like me and like watching somebody on the internet, who's just dishing out information. Granted, they are a doctor, but have they ever successfully trained a woman to lose 50 to 100 pounds?
I have to send you pictures.
Diet.
I'm going to send you pictures later. I have to find them, but I have to because you will giggle. I'll send you pictures of some of the influencers that have come across my feed. I think to myself, why is this coming across my feed? What is it? What is it about me that I'm getting
Some
this? But
algorithm.
yeah, for sure. I'll send you the pictures of them and what they attest to and what you should be eating in a caloric deficit to be skinny and what you should exercise. And there's
And then
just
you have,
fusion.
this new generation of females, which is great, but, you know, no food science background, no training with individuals, just, spatting out just BS information, and even kind of confusing the minds of the next generation. We have some young girls that are, I would say they are just progressive in their thinking because they know that eating an Oreo or a protein bar isn't
Oh
healthy
gosh.
for them.
Oh
And if
gosh.
they want to get healthy, they need to learn about food. about how their grandmothers ate. That is what we need to understand is your grandmother ate this way and lived till 100.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to relearn.
I am so grateful for this hour with you. I'm always so grateful with my.
You're so cute.
Yeah.
This was a great, like we really hit a lot of great subjects. And
Absolutely. And I hope you'll come back again because I
yeah,
know
I
that,
feel like we try to cover so much. Maybe
yeah,
we can break it down more.
for sure we can. Absolutely we can. Because I know the feedback from this will be amazing and people will be sending me again hundreds of DMs from
That's so
various
awesome.
topics, but this will be like, I know people will be asking me questions, which I am not able to answer. I am not able to answer this. So I will send them your way. And you're incredible, Sue. Really incredible. Tell
For you.
everybody how they can find you.
So www.suzangalluzzo.com. In Toronto, we're at 463 Manor Road, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Yeah, my webs
On
and
Instagram.
my Instagram, same thing, Suzan Galluzzo. My YouTube has a lot of information and really long testimonial videos. So if people really want to get to know me and the brand, watching those videos will give you a very good idea of what the program is like because every woman speaks on something different that have, helped her.
Thank you so much. I wish you
Pleasure.
the very
Thank you
best, and I hope I get to see
so
you when you're
much.
in
Thank
Toronto.
you for, what I appreciate about you, Dana, is you want to have these conversations for women because not many people do, so thank you because you're bringing a lot of things that I've never, even me creating content is really hard. You know what it's like it's so hard to get stuff out. So I'm glad we did this together.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sue. Thanks
Thank
everybody
you.
for
Thanks, Mike.